A seatbelt exists because the human body does not understand speed. For much of automotive history, safety was external. Cars were designed to be rigid. Steel frames, heavy dashboards, and reinforced doors were meant to shield occupants from harm. The prevailing belief was simple: if the vehicle remained intact, the people inside would be safe. This belief confused protection with control. Early crashes revealed a different reality. Even when the car survived impact, the occupants did not. Bodies continued moving at the car's original speed until something stopped them, often the windshield, steering wheel, dashboard, or each other. Injury did not come from the crash alone. It came from sudden deceleration. The problem was momentum. Momentum does not disappear when a vehicle stops. It transfers. Without intervention, it transfers into the human body abruptly, violently, and unevenly. Early safety designs failed because they treated the car as the problem rather than the physics governing motion. Seatbelts emerged to address this mismatch. Early versions were simple lap belts, borrowed from aviation. Their purpose was not comfort or convenience. It was containment. Keep the body from leaving the seat, prevent ejection. These early designs reduced fatalities but introduced new risks. Concentrating force across the abdomen caused internal injuries. The solution created a new problem. Design evolved in response. The three-point seatbelt redistributed force across the pelvis and shoulder, the body's strongest load-bearing structures. This change was not aesthetic. It was anatomical. Bones could handle force better than soft tissue. The belt's path across the body became as important as its strength. Material choices followed function. The belt had to be strong enough to withstand immense force, but flexible enough to stretch slightly. That stretch is critical. A perfectly rigid belt would stop the body too quickly, increasing injury. Controlled stretch lengthens the stopping distance, reducing peak force. This is the key insight of seatbelt design. Safety is not about stopping movement. It is about slowing movement correctly. The retractor mechanism reflects this principle. Under normal conditions, the belt moves freely, allowing comfort and small adjustments. Under sudden deceleration, it locks instantly. This dual behavior assumes human unpredictability. People shift, they reach, they relax. The belt must allow that, until it can't. This balance between freedom and restraint defines the seatbelt's success. Human behavior shaped every refinement. People resist discomfort. Early belts were ignored because they felt restrictive or unnecessary. Designers responded by making belts retract automatically, sit flush against the body, and signal when not in use. Compliance was not assumed, it was engineered. Seatbelt reminders exist not because people don't understand risk, but because risk feels abstract until it isn't. The belt solves this by making safety habitual. Click first, think later. Placement matters deeply. The belt anchors to the vehicle frame, not the seat fabric. In a crash, seats deform. Frames resist. The belt must transfer force into the strongest structure available. This invisible anchoring is where most of the work happens. The seatbelt also works in coordination with other systems. Airbags do not replace seatbelts. They depend on them. Without a belt, an airbag becomes a hazard. The belt positions the body so other safety systems can function as intended. This interdependence reveals the seatbelt's deeper role. It is not a standalone device. It is a mediator between the body and the machine. The moment of realization comes when you understand that seatbelts are not designed to prevent crashes. They are designed to manage inevitability. They assume failure. They prepare for the moment control is lost. This assumption distinguishes seatbelts from many other safety features. They do not correct behavior. They do not warn or intervene. They accept that mistakes happen and focus entirely on what follows. That acceptance is why seatbelts became mandatory. Not because people were reckless, but because perfection is unrealistic. Even the best drivers encounter unpredictable conditions. Safety cannot depend on ideal behavior. The trade-off is subtle but important. Seatbelts limit movement. They wrinkle clothes. They can feel restrictive. But this discomfort is minor compared to the alternative. Design chose restraint over freedom because freedom without control becomes danger at speed. Seatbelts also changed how cars themselves were designed. Crumple zones, collapsible steering columns, and interior padding work in concert with belts. The vehicle sacrifices itself gradually while the belt manages the occupant's motion. Together, they stretch time during impact, turning milliseconds into survivable intervals. Over time, seatbelts faded into the background. They became expected. Forgetting them feels wrong, not because of fear, but because habit has replaced decision-making. This is invisible design at its most effective. You don't admire a seatbelt. You don't customize it. You barely notice it. Yet it may be the most important interface between human vulnerability and mechanical force ever created. At the end of a journey, the belt retracts quietly, leaving no trace of its work. If it did its job well, nothing happened at all. Invisible design often succeeds by planning for failure rather than success. The seatbelt does exactly that. It accepts that motion will end suddenly, and it ensures that when it does, the human body is carried safely through the moment physics takes over.